They said your addiction has gone all the way back to when Safari was there. Why don't you admit that you were trying to expose Drake yourself for ghostwriting, right?
Girl, really?
Now, in the words of Nicki Minaj, we need to get into some things today. Now, Akademiks is spilling all the tea on Nicki Minaj again. Make sure y'all keep it locked and like the video. Let's get it.
Grandma, you got to get sober. The whole industry called me yesterday. She back on that. They're calling you a crackhead. They're calling you, they've called you some of the worst things that, you're the female version of Famous Dex, how they talking to me. I just want to be very clear. Nicki, yesterday was a bad day for you. Bad day. I heard about things I never knew about. How many times you have been crashing out privately that people who cared about you and respected your brand buried videos, paid people off because you're just a wild magnet. You're a druggie. Allegedly. Allegedly. But I'm hearing there's some videos exist. They said your addiction has gone all the way back to when Safari was there. Allegedly, you abusing him, swinging baseball bats, doing this. You got a mountain of that powder on the table. Niggas got to pull cameras out for their own protection. That's interesting. Your own victims is hitting me up. They're like, yo, this remind me of when she did this. Interesting. Now, I'm going to be honest. I was like, what makes y'all think this woman is off that?
Now, not only did Akademiks criticize last night's episode of Queen Radio, he also pulled some receipts from his good friend 6ix9ine on his experience working with Nicki when they did that song together. Remember when 6ix9ine got out of jail and he had that big song with Nicki? Well, he told Akademiks a few things.
She says, last time I was in the studio with 6ix9ine, he told me he could tell that you were hoping he was gay in real life and that you tried to touch him in that pool. The reason you mad is due to me and him being close. I'll tell you what 6ix9ine told me about you. See that Trolls video? You charged his label like goddamn $250,000 because you was insecure. When he was on house arrest and he just got out of jail, you flew there. Locked yourself up in a wing. Nobody saw you for whatever because you had body issues. You had them rent a private jet to go fly your glam squad in. They sent you 15 versions of the song. You were still unhappy. You were a... Not my words, but everybody who worked with you. Oh. That's the words you didn't hear, right? Okay. They all said it. She was a... When we made food for her, we couldn't knock on her door. We had to leave it there and call her. If we knocked on her door, she would come out screaming, threaten to fire us. She treated us like dirt. I've heard the same story about you a million times, Nicki. I've heard the same story about you a million times.
Now, Akademiks also spoke on Nicki's alleged part in Drake and Meek Mill's beef, all right? Let's check this out as well.
Nicki Minaj, how about you speak on why Drake didn't talk to you for the longest? How about you speak on your role in the Drake and Meek Mill beef? How you were encouraging Meek at the time to expose Drake, maybe out of jealousy. I don't know, because y'all were on the same label. Y'all were definitely on the same label, right? Why don't you admit that you were trying to expose Drake yourself for ghostwriting, right? When you were his label mate, but you were with Meek, and also Let's talk about, I mean, I've said it before. It's pretty much all documented history. You were one of the major parts in why Quentin Miller got hurt behind this. People got punched in the mouth because of you. Because you were fueling on the other side to say, hey, listen, you gonna let this nigga talk about you like that? This nigga not even writing his raps. What you finna do? Again, I've told the story. I think I'm the only one who told the story, but it's his facts. I won't tell you the source, but the source is as close as the source is in the story, or the source is involved in the camps. Remember them tweets from Meek to Drake? When Meek said, yo, I only tweeted this just to show somebody I don't give a. You and Meek supposedly at the Louis Vuitton store. Nigga had like $70K in cash, but what y'all both wanted to buy was a little bit more, and he asked you to cover it, and you gonna tell him? Drake would never ask me to cover, to pay for no shit at no store. You got him mad. You won't talk about why and how you really contributed to try to take Drake out while you were supposedly his label mate. You won't talk about that. You won't talk about that. Why y'all ain't talk for a couple years? Maybe that was one of the things. I don't know. You should answer it though. I wouldn't talk to you either. If I was calling you sis in all these interviews, then you get a man and you get him jealous at me and also help feed him information to make him feel like I'm not writing my material, then you think he could kill my career because you're also thinking you're competing with me, but I survive. And because your man don't win, you end up in the wins, and then you later come back crawling to me. You came back crawling to Drake. That wasn't forgotten. You know that wasn't forgotten. Let's be honest. You know that wasn't forgotten. You're a snake.
Now, this is why you can't get rid of Akademiks, because even the people who hate him will still listen to get some of that tea. Because his true purpose in the industry right now is to be the common man's insider. And what I mean is he's always giving us all the information from his celebrity connects, and he's letting us know what's kinda really going on behind the scenes. And when I say kinda, it's because it's some stuff he won't talk about, but it's not a lot of stuff he won't expose, especially if you push his buttons. And sometimes I be happy when I see people go at him because I'm like, okay, he gonna tell us some information. Now, oh yeah, and I want to mention this. I was watching his Twitch stream, and somebody who is a known Akademiks hater, a female, she was on her official Twitch account, and I guess she didn't know when you subscribe to Act, it pops up on the screen. And I wonder if anybody will catch this. I'm not going to expose who it was, but I said, you paying Akademiks and watching the content because you wanted to see him talk about Nicki, huh? You wanted to see him trash Nicki, huh? But we're not going to get into all of that. So Act said a lot, but let's start with Queen Radio. Now, everybody tuned in to Queen Radio last night. She was trending #1 on Twitter because everybody thought she was going to talk about Cardi B. And she did not get into the beef. She didn't talk about her husband on house arrest. She lightly said if people mess with her, they're going to get a voodoo curse. I got scared. I thought to myself, have I said anything bad about Nicki? I got scared, okay? But that's pretty much all she said about the beef. She turned it into something semi-positive. But before I get into the positive part, everybody talked about the video where she was like, oh yeah, it's a difference between taking shots and calling shots or something like that. And she had all the people behind her. And I feel like that's a mixed bag because yes, it was a lot of rappers, but according to Akademiks and others, it was some gang members in there as well and guys who are associated with her husband that don't rap. So it was a mixture of both, all right? I just want to put that out there. But getting back to the positivity, it was good that she had a lot of New York rappers come up there and they showcased their talent. They was spitting bars, I can't lie. Only thing I had an issue with was because I could tell people came up there prepared. And there was one guy who was rapping and Nicki cut him off in the middle of his freestyle to go on a rant about this new age music scene and how your talent really don't matter. And she said, all that talent you just saw showcased right there, it really don't even matter. I thought that was kind of insulting. Like, if I was the guy rapping and she cut me off, I would have been like, dang, what you think about me? But at the end of the day, all of those guys have to be grateful because Nicki put them on a very huge platform. And that's why, you know, with all of these artists, whether you hate them or like them, they all use their fame in some type of positive capacity. And I thought that was cool. But you know, a lot of people saw Nicki getting a little out of character with some of the stuff she did. So she was dancing and all that other stuff. I really didn't mind it. I thought it was her trying to show a little bit more of her personality because we get to see the antics and her changing her personality, but we don't get to see that as much as we see everybody else. And I feel like that's where it's a slight disconnect with Nicki. That's why a lot of these other girls are so big on TikTok and all these other platforms. And you can tell Nicki is bigger when it comes to music overall. But the younger audience, I think they have a hard time relating to her because she doesn't show as much as her personality as these other girls. They're on Instagram and TikTok every day. They're always putting up little videos, funny stuff, and showing their personality. Nicki doesn't really do that. Only time you really see Nicki is when she go live, and when she goes live, you kind of know it's for a purpose. She just not going live just to chill with people. She'll do it sometimes before she about to drop, but then that goes back to what I mean when I say it's a purpose, right? So I felt like when she was dancing and having a good time, she was trying to showcase a little bit of her personality. But some people looked at that and said, oh, it looked like Nicki is on drugs. Okay? Now, let's fast forward it to another thing Act talked about, which was Nicki's attitude. And he brought up the story with 6ix9ine and, you know, she was having body issues and was cussing people out. But I think that comes with the territory. Act has to admit he has an ego. He feels like he's the biggest black personality in media. And, you know, we'll give him his credit for that. But he does a lot when it comes to flexing on other platforms and people like that. And some people will say he has a mean-spirited past, okay? And you can say the same thing about anybody who makes it to these people's level. Nicki Minaj is a female who they call the queen. She was on Queen Radio talking about how she was a boss, and she was talking like she was Tony Santana, like she was Scarface. And all them gangsters was riding with her, they laughing, even though some of them might think she crazy or they might not feel like she the boss like she thinks she is. In those moments, they let her talk that talk. So I feel like a lot of people have to understand that. The ego comes with the success. It comes with the territory. All right? I'm not going to fault her for being a diva. All these women on her level are a diva. They're all divas, okay? We cannot get that twisted. But when he talked about that Drake stuff, don't get it twisted. I'm pretty sure there's people out there who can say Drake has done me wrong. But on public record, you have to notice a pattern when it comes to Drake. And when you think about why Drake is really private, I know a lot of y'all say, how is he private? Da, da, da. He does just enough to make himself come off as not private. But if you really pay attention to him and all these other artists, everything you get from him is calculated. if you see him out, it's calculated. It's not I'm relaxed and I'm just chilling. He's really held back, if you ask me. All the pictures that come out, I know they go through them pictures. Are we allowed to post these? Everything he put on Instagram, it's just not he taking a picture on his phone and putting it out. It's all choreographed. But I think that's because he has dealt with a lot in the industry when it comes to other artists. He worshipped Kanye. And it's on record that Kanye did him dirty. Now, I know back in the day, Nicki and Drake used to act like they had a crush on each other, but Ak was right. They did have a brother-sister relationship. I can go into rumors about their relationship and what did or may have not happened. Regardless, at a certain point, they made it clear that they weren't together and they were, like big brother, big sister type of vibes. And I know he was hurt when he was beefing with Meek. And he had to look at his other label mate. It's not the fact that they was on the same label. It's the fact that Cash Money and all that stuff Lil Wayne built was given to us to seem like it was a family. That's how it was portrayed to us. We thought Young Money was a family. And to hear that story about Drake in a hotel and Nicki and Meek in the same hotel and Drake is in the other room just playing the diss record. I think it was back to back. He was playing it loud as heck in the hotel. And everybody was cool with it because they knew he was doing it out of spite towards Nicki and Meek, who are in the same hotel. Imagine me and you beefing, and I'm in the hotel room above you, and I'm blasting a song talking crazy about you. And I know that was petty of Drake, but it was probably because you doing that with somebody who's supposed to be my family and my friend who I came up with. Now, I'm not going to say Drake didn't do anything to Nicki. I don't have the inside information about why Nicki was siding with Meek. Obviously, they were together, but at a certain point, you would be like, that's my brother. I ain't going to indulge in this. But I will say on public record, their beef really didn't look right. And I'm glad they eventually got cool again. And also, I want to note, Drake and Lil Wayne had some issues too before he went to jail or after he went to jail. Sometime in that timeline when Wayne got locked up for a long time. Remember that when Wayne was locked up and Karen Civil was really running his career while he was in jail? Somewhere in between there, Drake and Wayne were beefing. So Drake really had a beef or a problem with all the power players in Young Money. But still, I know he looks at some of that stuff and says, why did they do me like that? Why did they, bully is a harsh word, but I think he feels like he was always given an unfair shot in the industry. And that's why you hear him talk the way he talk on these songs. He cool with Jay-Z, but it was a time when Jay-Z was going at him. Not to make this all about Drake, but I'm just saying that's something that I noticed. But we never heard Nicki speak on any of this stuff regarding her role in the Meek and Drake beef. And she don't have to talk about it. It was years ago. But like I keep telling y'all, people are starting to show a pattern about Nicki. And I haven't even talked about all the stuff Jason Lee has been saying about Nicki either. Jason Lee, who runs Hollywood Unlocked, he's saying that Nicki and her husband are out here really trying to call hits and put hits on people. And you can say maybe they want to get people beat up, but I'm hearing it's more serious than just a couple of beatdowns, all right? It seems like they really trying to take... And I'm hoping that this doesn't turn into a legal situation for Nicki, because it can happen quick. You see how fast her husband got put on house arrest. I think that's why she was really careful last night about what she said, because if she would have talked about Cardi, she might have incriminated herself, okay? So, y'all let me know about everything I said, what Akademiks said, what y'all think. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. I will see y'all next time. Peace.